A strange kidnapping case occurred during the spring of 1933 in Kansas City, Missouri. The kidnapping of 25-year-old Mary McElroy after she was abducted from her father's home. Mary's father, being Henry McElroy, was a powerful and controversial city manager in the early 1900s.
Henry McElroy was very closely associated with a political machine that had become notorious both in Missouri and also nationally.
Henry McElroy moved from Amboy, Illinois to Kansas City, Missouri in 1895. He was personally chosen by Tom Pendergast to become Kansas City's first city manager. Henry McElroy was closely connected with the political organization that was controlled by Tom Pendergast, known as the Pendergast Machine. The Pendergast Machine was built by the revenue from liquor, saloons, gambling, and gained political power from thousands of people, especially immigrants and African Americans who would vote in Tom's favor after their support was earned. Through the rise of the Pendergast Machine, it gained McElroy a lot of power as he became one of the most powerful men in the city. On May 27, 1933, while Henry McElroy was at City Hall, Walter McLean and Clarence Stevens came to Mary's home at 21 West 57th Street, Kansas City, Missouri. While Mary was taking a bath, the armed accomplices forced their way inside the house and kidnapped her. They threw her in the car covered with a blanket so she couldn't see anything. Mary was taken inside a house in Shawnee, Kansas, a cellar. The air was stale, dark, and it was like being inside a crypt. She was shackled to a wall and chained up. Mary endured 29 hours of being held in captivity.
Kind of a golden age of kidnappings nationally at the time. There was some famous ones, including Charles Lindbergh's son was kidnapped around the time.
They had Mary write a letter to her father. The letter revolved around the ransom wanted by the kidnappers. She wrote about her abductors demanding $60,000 and a warning to not contact the authorities. Mary claimed any letter without her thumbprint is not authentic. If the money was sent correctly, she would be released 6 hours afterwards. A ransom of $60,000 was demanded by the kidnappers. Henry said he did not have $60,000, but he could pay $30,000. So it was eventually settled as $30,000 and paid by Henry McElroy on May 29th. On that same day, Mary McElroy was released at the Millburn Golf Country Club. Mary didn't cry or show fear. On the contrary, she was prepared and collected when she was faced to talk to the press. Shortly after Mary's release, her captors were sentenced to life imprisonment. Walter originally received a death penalty but later reduced to life imprisonment after Mary McElroy interceded. In the years after Mary was kidnapped, she was traumatized by the incidents, notwithstanding the fact that she sympathized with Walter McLean, his brother George, and Clarence Click, her kidnappers. Mary frequently visited them in jail, even forming a friendship with them.
Case of Stockholm Syndrome, where Mary McElroy, I would not go so far as to say that she loved or had any kind of romantic involvement with anybody.
In 1939, the Pendergast Machine had its downfall, and Henry McElroy was addicted for various financial crimes as part of the Pendergast Machine. Shortly afterwards, Henry fell ill and died in his home on September 15, 1939. After his death, Mary was truly all alone. On the morning of January 21, 1940, she put a pistol to her head and shot herself. Mary's suicide letter wrote, "My 4 kidnappers are probably the only people on earth who don't consider me an utter fool. You have your death penalty now, so please give them a chance."
In her later 30s, when she took her own life, and in all of that time, she lived at home with her father and hadn't really gone out in the world and really experienced the world.
Mary McElroy is now buried in Mount Washington Cemetery with her father, Henry McElroy.